And on that front, what degree of difficulty do you attach to the task at hand in front of the Fed right now? And you mentioned storm clouds.
Yeah, I'm going to change the storm clouds because I said there are three things that we're going through, which are, I hate the word unprecedented, which are kind of unprecedented. And you got to put this in back of your mind when you've seen things that have never happened before, then you have to question your ability to predict. Okay, one is huge growth in this country, driven by fiscal and monetary stimulation. That isn't a normal recovery. Okay, and that fiscal stimulation is still in the pocketbooks of consumers. They're spending it. They're spending at very strong levels. And the data is completely distorted. It's distorted by inflation. It's distorted by they went from goods back to services. It's distorted by all these things. But jobs are plentiful. Wages are going up. Consumers are spending. The lower income folks, not quite as much as before, but everybody else, it looks like they have $2 trillion more. Savings rate drop. I don't think that's going to stop the spending in 6 or 9 months. So that to me is the bright clouds out there. But it's different. The Fed has to meet this now with raising rates and QT. And the new part of this isn't the raising rates, it's the QT. The QT we've never had QE before like this. Therefore, we've never had QT like this. So you're looking at something they're going to be writing history books on for 50 years. What was QE? What worked? What didn't work? I think a lot of parts of QE backfired. I think the negative rates was probably a huge mistake for a whole bunch of different reasons I won't bore you with now. But they got to raise rates. And in my view, they have to do QT. They do not have a choice because there's so much liquidity in the system. They have to remove some of the liquidity to stop the speculation, to reduce home prices, stuff like that. And you've never been through QT. So all the major buyers, if you go back to 2010 and say, who are all the major buyers of treasuries? All that time, it was central banks, foreign exchange managers, banks who were topping up their liquidity profiles because we had to for regulations. All three, it won't happen the go round. Banks are topped up, foreign exchange managers are topped up, the central bank will be selling, not buying, and governments have much more fiscal deficit to finance. That's a huge change in the flow of funds around the world. I don't know what the effect of that is. I'm prepared for, I tell you, a minimum huge volatility. And the third thing is Ukraine. That you've not had a European land war since 1945, okay? And the complexity of Ukraine is we don't know the outcome. I always make a list, if you predict the outcome. Well, you couldn't predict the outcome of Vietnam, Korea, Afghanistan, Iraq, 10 other conflagrations. All wrong. Wars go bad. They go south. They have unintended consequences. And this happens to be rolling the commodity markets of the world. Wheat, oil, gas, and stuff like that, which in my view will continue. We're not taking the proper actions to protect Europe from what's going to happen in oil in the short run, and we're not taking the proper actions to protect you all what's going to happen to oil in the next 5 years, which means it almost has to go up the price. We're not investing enough money, to keep oil a number. And for all those who love climate change, if oil prices go to 175 or 150, which I kind of think is in the cards to tell you the truth, not in the immediate run, but down the road, then CO2 won't go down, which is everyone predicts because people buy less oil and gas. It's going to go up because all those other countries out there, the poor countries who need oil and gas to feed and heat their citizens, will not buy oil and gas, they'll buy coal. That's what's going to happen. CO2 will go up, it won't come down. And we're not dealing with these challenges. So those three things, fiscally induced growth, QT, Ukraine war. So I'm going to change the storm clouds out there because I'm an optimist. I said there's storm clouds, they're big storm clouds. It's a hurricane. Right now it's kind of sunny, things are doing fine. Everyone thinks the Fed can handle this. That hurricane is right out there down the road coming our way. We just don't know if it's a minor one or Superstorm Sandy Sandy or Andrew or something like that. And you better brace yourself. So JP Morgan is bracing ourselves, and we're going to be very conservative in our balance sheet on with all this capital uncertainty. We're going to have to take actions, and I kind of want to shed non-operating deposits again, which we can do in size, to protect ourselves so we can serve clients in bad times. And so that's the environment we're dealing with. And I think it's okay to hope that'll end up okay. I hope it. That's my Goldilocks. I hope. Who the hell knows?